All right, man. So I've been trying to think of a way to make this show a little bit cooler. How can we do that? Hmm. All right, everybody. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli, bringing you another episode of the podcast dedicated to the Colorado Avalanche. And joining me on this Friday and every Friday, as he has been, Mr. Cool Shades, Kyle Sullivan at Shaggy Von Doom. What's going on, my man?
Living the dream. It's preseason, baby.
I these came in the mail, and I'm like, I told my wife, I'm like, I feel like I should be on a beach. Like, I feel like I should be on Muscle Beach playing volleyball, with Tom Cruise, and we're gonna go fly some fighter jets and stuff like that. Like that's how I feel wearing these things. And if you don't know, if you're listening, Kyle and I got some retro shades. You ever see the movie Summer School?
Yeah.
Remember the movie Summer School where they get the shades and everybody's like wearing the different glasses? Like these are sunglasses direct from that movie, Summer School. Classic movie.
They're right up there with Macho Man Randy Savage shades.
They are. Think Macho Man. And they have those. They have those.
They do.
Yes. So we both got some pretty sweet shades. It's Friday. It's preseason hockey. And it seemed like a regular season game between the Avs and the Wild. Knuckles being thrown, man. So we'll get into it. We only watched the first two periods because we wanted to record this episode. So as of we're recording this, maybe by the time we're done here, we'll know what the final is. But it's the second intermission as we're going into recording. And I think it was 4-3 Minnesota. So lots to get to. But first things first, follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Search for Locked On Avalanche on YouTube to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And then lockedonavalanche@gmail.com if you want to send any questions, comments, concerns, opinions. All right. So today we're going to get to our final burning question, which, of course, is the playoffs. Can the Avalanche slay this monkey on their back, slay this dragon, slay this demon, however you want to say it, and get past round two? And then we're going to talk about right now, we're going to talk about what we've seen so far in preseason game number 2. So I'll throw it to you first. And like I said, Avalanche down 4-3 right now. We don't know how it's going to turn out, obviously, but after 2 periods, what have you seen?
I like that first line. It was interesting to see Gabe getting the nod tonight, and common faces like Mikko, Kale, and Nate still sitting and resting. Nas looks great. It's so great to see EJ back.
Oh my God.
It's
playing well.
Playing really well, tallying that second goal of the night. He's looking great, and he's really that. I think it's twofold: seeing EJ come back and that lack of presence that we lost with Belmar. He's totally taken that emotional role, and that top line looks good. A lot of the depth players that we have out there tonight, some guys are standing out, some guys are kind of invisible. We're getting a good look at Kemper and a good look at Jussi Sananen. So, I mean, as an Avs fan, it's a good look for everybody.
And what's the one thing that we're always throwing around with Darcy Kuemper? We always think yes, that this could be a net plus, a net positive by the end of the year. But there's always the but. And what is always the but? It's the big but. Health. And what happened in this game? He gets taken out. I don't remember who it was. And not totally that player's fault. It honestly wasn't. He did get a little bump. It wasn't this just shove right into Kuemper, but he was going pretty fast, and it was enough of a bump where the guy really couldn't skate around him, and he kind of crashed into him. And anytime that happens with Darcy Kuemper this year, everybody's going to be holding their breath. Everybody, because it's oh boy. Is this guy made of glass? Who knows? But he's going to play a big role, obviously, for these guys here. He's got to be healthy. So he seemed to get up. It was okay, but still, we were watching that together, and both of us did that. Both of us held our breath collectively. Yeah.
Yeah. And we kind of got conditioned that way a little bit with Grubauer last year. Anytime that he would take a cross crease sliding save,
Yeah.
you automatically were like, oh gosh, here goes the groin. Here we go again. Now with Kemper, you still don't know. And tonight, it just escalated this tale as old as time Avalanche Wild rivalry. It got chippy quick.
Yeah. So, you're getting a lot of cross-check calls. That's going to happen. Players are going to have to adapt to this new cross-check. And watching the game the way we were, it's a stream. Well, it was weird. It was the Minnesota Wild were streaming the Avalanche kind of in-house stream.
Yeah.
So it was the Wild announcers, but so the replays were not as fresh and rewound enough so we could see. But something went down where they called Kadri for a cross check, and I kept wanting to see that, and I didn't see it. But for whatever reason, Gabe Landeskog, and I don't remember who it was. Do you remember? He was fighting. I don't remember.
Hartman.
Yes, it was Hartman. We're going on at it. Both were kind of on the ground, and it was one of those things where the refs came over to separate the two, and Gabe Landeskog was not done. He was heated, threw his helmet off, threw his gloves off. The ref had to do everything in his power to keep Landeskog from getting back to him. He got a 10-minute misconduct for it. So Gabe Landeskog, his first action, because he didn't play in the first preseason game, but he's in mid-season form, not even mid-season form, just regular season form, day one form of he's not letting up at all, even though this is a preseason game. He was heated, and they didn't rewind it enough to tell you exactly what happened. From what we saw, maybe it was something that happened before, and then it culminated where they were just right around each other, so they just went at it. I don't know, but I didn't see anything that led up to it.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the stance that the team is going to take this year, not accepting anything and just a rabid approach to this year. It was great seeing Gabe that way. But yeah, cross-checking. Yeah. Before this game even started, I was watching Philly and Boston, and that was on national TV. That was on TNT. And I mean, probably the first 5 minutes, we had 2 cross-checking calls. The NHL is all about making this a point of emphasis that it's been in the rule book, but we're going to really enforce it this year. And this was our turn catching that rule.
Well, I think, and I haven't watched, a ton of preseason games outside of the Avalanche, but I'm sure this is going to be across the board that everybody's going to have to get used to it. And it needed to happen, in my opinion. Yeah. It was, the rule honestly hasn't changed. It's just they're enforcing it more. And I think it's the right thing to do. You give the players a little bit of leeway in how they play like that, and now it's just gotten too far. I think it's just gotten too much where guys are getting hurt, and you're watching this, and they're doing these rough cross checks right to their lower back, and I know they got some padding back there, but geez,
and it's what players like Austin Matthews are known for now, of their cross-checking in the crease and kind of clearing space out. Once a penalty becomes a skill set, that's what made the NHL be like, you know what, we need to reel this in a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. We'll update as we are recording here, but still in intermission, and it is 4-3. So, you're going to have some rust in the goalies, especially with Kemper, but and he let in 3. He didn't let in all 4. Justus Annunen came in and he let up 1. So, but I think Alex Newhook looks really good. Sampo Ranta with a really pretty goal, I think from an assist from Newhook, if I'm not mistaken. I don't have the stats right in front of me, but Ranta with a nice, I wouldn't call it so much a power move, but he was going in that direction of kind of lowering his shoulder and kind of forced one home. We think it went 5 holes. Tough to see, but he looks good. I really like what Newhook's doing right now. So you got Sammy Girard out there. Power play. we need something on the power play. 0 for 7 in game 1, 0 for 3 right now through 2. But 0 for 7 in the first one. Even though you ran a majority of prospects, you still got to get 1 or 2, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you're seeing a lot of really good names that you think are going to make the roster, like Jack Johnson. McDermott's playing both sides. He's looking great. Mm-hmm. But with all these names you're putting in there, we're still not getting anything on the power play.
No. And the power play looked pretty good. They were moving it around. They had some pretty good looks, but just nothing, no pay dirt yet. So we shall see. You can't.
There you go.
You can. All right. Yeah.
You were frozen for a second.
Yeah. It said that there was some connection hiccup. So I just want to make sure we're good. All right. All right. So you're going to like this one, man. You trust me. Everybody listening to this specific show is going to like this one right now, because this is Fantrax, and I'm going to give you the inside track on some fantasy hockey, and it's called Fantrax. It's free NHL Fantasy Hockey League. It is the most customizable, easy to use, and feature-rich platform in the industry. Sign up for free today, and as a special offer for Locked On Avalanche fans, you will be entered to win an official NHL signed Nathan MacKinnon jersey. You got that?
Color me interested.
Yeah. So simply go to fantrax.com/lockedon and sign up. The top dynasty fantasy hockey platform in the industry, Fantrax is the most customizable fantasy platform, offering the greatest fantasy experience for your dynasty, keeper, redraft, and best ball league. So go deep with the ultimate keeper and dynasty leagues. Create a simple redraft league or the customizable best ball league with up to 2,000 teams. Pretty crazy. So once again, go to sign up at today at fantrax.com. That's fantrax.com/locked on. And you will be entered to win an official NHL signed Nathan MacKinnon jersey. I know everybody in this room listening to this is going to be interested in that one for sure. All right. So we will move on from the preseason game that's ongoing right now. Like I said, we'll keep people updated for whatever reason. I mean, by the time you're listening to this, you know the outcome.
Give you the live breakdown.
Yeah, exactly. We're finishing with the kind of burning questions of the week, and kind of saved I don't want to say the best for last, because being an Avalanche fan, it's kind of like the worst part of all of this, but it's the playoffs.
Yeah.
And, we all know the history with the Avalanche. Well, recent history in the last 3 years. I look like I do feel like I'm going to go out like on a fighter jet right now. I talked about a fighter jet earlier, but I feel like my windscreen is up right now. Like, you know what I mean? There you go. So yeah, playoffs. It's like the arch nemesis. It is the Lex Luthor. It is the Thanos. Yeah. It is whatever the Darth Vader for the Avalanche right now. And I was asked a lot last year, is it Stanley Cup or bust? I was telling people, yeah, even though it is a short and weird COVID season, that has carried over into this year, and maybe even more so. How I said in yesterday's episode, and we were talking before we went live, that about the Jared Bednar firing thing. And trust me, people, like, I'm not going to keep bringing that up. I'm not about getting rid of coaches. Me, like, I love Jared Bednar. I don't want him to go anywhere. But I said yesterday, like, if the Avs fail to even make the Stanley Cup final, you're going to hear the groundswell a lot more. So I guess the first question I'll ask you, Kyle, is do you think this is playing with the Avalanche mind at all? Like come playoff time, first round, I don't think they'll have any weight on their shoulders other than if they're a number 1 seed, even if they're a number 2 seed, losing to a lower seed. That's each and every year. It's when they get to that second round. Do you think they'll start hearing the chirps if they're able to get to the second round again?
Probably, because that's what they heard last year into the second round was their inability to get past the second round. Now they know it's what needs to be done. And they're going to tell you all day long that's not the goal, that it is the Stanley Cup. And in their mind, there's an internal clock. Like, you're getting the prime out of Nate and Mikko and Gabe all at the same time. And
Yeah.
if it's not this year, it's going to be harder next year. And everyone around you is getting better and trying to copy your blueprint of what you put together. It's not so much cup or bust. You just know your window is closing and it's not going to be as easy as it is right now. So,
well, it's so weird. Like, is the window really closing though? Is it like, yeah, there is probably some window because every year that goes by that you don't win it, obviously everyone gets a year older, but a year older for Nathan MacKinnon is 28. You know what I mean? That's still pretty young. A year older for Mikko Rantanen is 26. A year older for Cale Makar is 23. So like we're still young, I think after this year they said one more year left on that Nathan MacKinnon contract. And let's just, go way forward thinking and say you don't win it this year, you don't win it next year, which is Nathan MacKinnon's last year on the deal. He's an unrestricted after that. Does that play into a decision for him that I have these incredible players around me and we can't get it done here? I got to go somewhere else. I don't know. Like that's way down the road. But if you can't get it done in the next 2 years, and that's when his contract is done, he might be thinking, is it going to happen here at all? And that could play into his thinking. We don't know, but it's definitely a possibility.
And when last year you won the President's Trophy and it was in the cards, you were the favorite. This Stanley Cup was yours.
Right.
And then if you're Nathan MacKinnon, if they think this team can win without a Donskoy, without a Ryan Graves, without a Brandon Saad, and you take a step back this year, and it's the first round you get an exit, or it's the second round again, and that's the narrative going into next year, or if it's the third round. When I say the window's closing, it's so much like a cup or bust season because you don't need another mountain to climb. You just need to win the whole thing, because next year, all that's going to be playing into Nate's mind. And like you mentioned, we were talking about the article talking about Bednar possibly firing. It's the last thing you want to do right now with Nathan MacKinnon still trying to figure out, is this where I'm going to win a cup? When everybody feels like this is the team you want to be on to win a cup. But if you can't this year and you can't next year, would changing Bednar help? Would that just tell Nathan, well, this isn't it? They don't believe in anything they're doing. And then he goes somewhere else. Like, those are the variables that you have to think about when it comes to the Colorado Avalanche.
It's a good point because you don't like it to be this way, but superstar players have a say in who's coaching them. You don't tell me that, the LeBron James of the world aren't talking, or the GM and the president aren't going to him and saying, do you approve of this person? I'm not saying that, Nathan MacKinnon would be the be all end all, but if it is contract time and Joe Sakic has a conversation with him saying like, what will it take to bring you back? And Nathan MacKinnon says something like, look, I like Bednar. We might need a change there. That might get the thinking of everybody, because if they don't change, if they don't do a coaching change when Nathan MacKinnon is on the line, Bednar's gone. You're keeping Nathan MacKinnon over Jared Bednar. I'm sorry. I love them both, but that's going to happen. And if you're listening to this thinking like, why are we talking about this? Well, go win a cup and then we won't talk about this stuff, because now we're going into this is probably what I'd say year 4. This season coming up is year 4 of legit Avalanche talk of doing some damage, and it's exponential. It's gone up every single year. That first year of this including this season, you had a team that you could make the playoffs, and anything can happen in the playoffs, but they didn't go that far. That's okay. And then these previous 3 years where they're out in the third round. Now, especially last year and this year, they're a favorite.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't keep saying that. And if you want people like Kyle and I to stop talking about it, then the Avalanche need to do something, because trust me, if they don't, we aren't the only ones that are going to be talking about it. Everybody's going to be like, what is it going to take for the Avalanche to win this thing? And unfortunately, sometimes it comes down to it falls on the coach's head. And I think every coach in the league would tell you that it falls on them.
Yeah.
So,
and you don't want to constantly be that team to chase something you really never had, because at this point we haven't won anything. Like,
yeah,
when we won a couple games in that series against Nashville, it was unexpected. And then the year after, we made a deeper run and it was unexpected. But now that we're expected to win, we just kind of stall out. Is that what you want to keep doing? Like,
no.
you're trying to win the cup. You don't want to keep things the way they are. You want to get to that next level. And what's not working? Like we talked about at the end of last year. Like, you have to look at the team, like, what's not working. This is the year that you figure that out.
Yeah.
If you can't get through the playoffs and can't get to that Stanley Cup, something's not working. And you can't tell me otherwise, because we're not bringing Lord Stanley home.
It's true. And it's tough because hockey is the best parity league out there. So it's the toughest trophy to win. But, this team is primed to do it. And I think, from the fans to the team itself, they're probably frustrated, but they probably also know, like, we got a damn good team and we can do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. We're not going to let, superstition come in the way of, us doing our final goal, which is to win the entire thing. So,
yeah.
All right, let's hear from Built Bar and Bet Online, and then kind of take a step back and look at the week as a whole, and I'll get your take on some things. So, Built Bar, you know it, you love it. Kyle, did you finish off all your Built Bars, or you still got?
I still have a few more to go.
Okay, all right. They are the best tasting protein bar in the world, are they not, sir? I mean, you can vouch for this now.
I love the coconut. My goodness, it is next level.
The coconut is excellent. And there's a limited edition when it comes out. It's a coconut brownie. Get that bad boy. That won when they were in March, when they were doing the March Madness of flavors. That one is the one that won it. So, and rightfully so. But if you don't know Built Bar, well, you are missing out, and you can pick between a plethora of flavors such as coconut and raspberry and mint brownie and strawberry, orange, cookies and cream. The list goes on. And if you haven't tried all the flavors, you can get a mixed box where you get 2 of each of 9 flavors available. And not only are Built Bar, are they the best tasting, but they are healthy. They have 17 to 18 grams of protein. Calories range from 130 to 180. 4 to 5 grams of sugar, 4 to 5 grams of carbs, net carbs. Amazing flavors, all tasty and all healthy. And you can go to BuiltBar.com, use the promo code LOCKED15, and you get 15% off of your order. Once again, that promo code is LOCKED15 for 15% off at BuiltBar.com. Finally, Bet Online, and with football back in action, now is the time to get in on some action with betonline.ag. It's number one spot for all of your pro and college football action. And with the new updated site and interface, more odds, prop bets, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50%. We're back down to 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. And don't forget to use the promo code locked on to receive your bonus from football, basketball, boxing, hockey, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. Bet online. It's the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports, and it is where the games start. All right. Well, let's end with kind of taking a summary of the week. Kind of, like I said, the 5 burning questions that we went through. I went through injuries, depth, rookies, physicality, and today, obviously, we just talked about the playoffs. Was there anything that you think I missed? Is there any other burning questions for the Avalanche, or those? I mean, maybe the goalies, but I feel like we're okay with the goalies. But I don't feel like I missed any of the anything glaring.
No, and I honestly, with all your burning questions, I think you addressed all the literal burning questions on the minds of Avalanche fans. And like everything we said in the last segment about Cup or bust and like how the Avalanche are put together and is this the year, you could go back and listen to the episodes through the week. We are really lucky to have the depth we do, the rookies that we do. We have EJ coming off injury right now, and you could just see the addition that he's been in this preseason game. And you can look at teams around the league; they're not this deep. We are ridiculously deep right now, and going to get deeper with the Eagles coming up and all of our draft picks like Foodie and Olofsson. Like we have a lot of things to look forward to. So it's not doom and gloom. I don't want you guys to think that we're talking doom and gloom about the Avalanche here. Like we're in a really good position. Like incredible rookies. We're coming to a very healthy team this year, which is going to be great. And all of this culminates in how we handle the playoffs. So the Avalanche are in a really, really good spot. And step back and take a look around the rest of the league. Like, as I'm saying this, Lawson just scored a goal. Like,
yes. I was gonna, as soon as you were, finishing up your point, I was gonna bring him up, and how he was looking really good in this game, and he almost had a goal earlier. And he's he's running the slingshot play on the power play.
Yeah,
I know it's preseason, but good Lord, I mean, he's 18 years old, and he's running the Nathan McKinnon spot of the power play on power play 1. Yeah, I know that's getting the kid acclimated and everything, and getting his feet wet, but that's impressive. When it comes to injuries, like I said on Monday's show, everybody is going to be looking. Well, everybody wants to stay healthy overall, but individually, like people are going to be watching Eric Johnson, and I think to maybe a lesser extent, but for Avalanche fans, an extent, Francouz. Those are 2 guys that missed basically. Johnson played 4 games last year. Big deal. Those guys basically missed all of last season. So you're going to be watching those 2 guys in addition to just overall health. Can we get a healthy season out of Avalanche players? Let's hope so. Yeah, you're going to have bumps and bruises and missed games here and there, but let's not have those season-ending injuries. They're out for the foreseeable future. If you're day to day, that crap like that's going to happen. But minimize as best you can, as much as you can control, which is so difficult to control injuries. That's going to be the sticking point for me, I think, in the Avalanche.
But and to all your points with your earlier episodes about our depth and rookies and everything, like we're built in a way where if we lose a goalie or EJ goes down again, it's next man up. Like I had a conversation earlier in the week recording a future episode of Here in Puckburg with a writer for the Blackhawks. If Marc-Andre Fleury goes down or Jonathan Toews goes down, the Chicago Blackhawks lose all forward trajectory and momentum, and their season's done.
Yeah,
we don't have that problem. Like we had Nate, he was injured last year for a little bit, and Joe stepped up. Like we have the depth to fill in when those injuries happen. This is NHL hockey. Not everybody's guaranteed to make it the full 82. Injuries will happen, but we're built deep enough for when they do happen.
Let me ask you this. You said we're still the deepest team in the league. Last year, I don't think there was any question. They were the deepest team. So they lost some of that depth. And I don't think they are as deep as a team as last year. But even having said that, are they still the deepest team in the league?
It's a relative term. We lost established depth
That's
from
so
last
true.
year.
Yeah.
We have new depth. We're talking about names tonight that people haven't even heard of. Like, these are people like Aloft and Ranta. Like, these are names that if I told you last year, this is not established depth, but this is still a deep, talented team. If you want to say deep, talented team, I mean, we are still a very deep and talented team. Like, not many fan bases in the league right now could talk about who were healthy scratching tonight, and you have a case for both players. Like, you can't name everybody in your defensive core. Like, we have a really deep and talented team. Maybe not as established as last year, but deep and talented.
Right. It's true. It's a good point. And I kind of said something similar that, like, we have to see what these guys that we acquired can do. Because when we acquired the guys that we were touting from last year that we were so deep with, when we acquired them, we were kind of asking the same question when they first came into the Avalanche. And after they got settled, we knew what they could provide. We fell in love with them, with guys like Belmar. You know what I mean? So now give these guys an opportunity to do the same thing. By the way, I thought they had just given Gabe Landeskog a 10-minute misconduct. They must have given Kadri one too, because I'm looking at the stats and he's got 12 penalty minutes. So
mid-season form,
not how you want to come back. Your first game back, you gave that press conference saying, all the things that you were saying about your suspension, and you get a 10-minute misconduct. I'm not saying it wasn't warranted, but probably not the best look for Nas right here. But hey, he's got a goal and an assist. So does Sampo Ranta, a goal and assist. So he's finding his way onto this team one way or another. Jack Johnson, an assist. He had an assist on that last goal. So yeah, that's where we're at. All right, we got like 8 minutes left in this game. So let's wrap this bad boy up, and then we'll go see how this thing finishes off. So thank you for making this your first listen for the day. Definitely head over to Locked On NHL to make that your second listen of the day. And we'll be back next week. And what's their next? When's their next game? When's their next? Let me see here real quick. October. Jeez, they don't play till October 4th. So Monday they're playing Minnesota again in Minnesota. So anything happens over the weekend, you can definitely rest assured we'll be talking about it on Monday. Where can they find you, Mr. Kyle Sullivan?
You can find me at Shaggy Von Doom everywhere you look, or you can find me hosting here in Puckburg over on the Belly Up Sports Podcast Network.
Love it. All right, guys. Thank you again, as always. Always appreciated. And thank you to you at home or in your car, wherever you're listening. Always appreciate it as well. And we'll see everybody on Monday. We're out. I can't see what I'm doing.